Okay, so it's 2 p.m. Toronto time. It's 7 p.m. Nigeria. I think it's 7 p.m. Ghana time as well. And we're just going to start. And like I said, my face is becoming dark and light because I'm facing facing my backyard, and the sun is up and down. I don't know how to resolve that. I don't know if I put some lights on, if that will help. Anyway, I guess that's something we can live with. So, okay, so somebody saying I can't hear anything. We can manage the lighting. Okay, if you can manage the lighting, that's fine. It's bothering me, but if it's not bothering others, it's fine. And if you can't hear us, it's 10 p.m. in Dubai. Okay, good evening, people from Dubai. Increase my voice. Oh my God. Okay, let me see. Let me see how I can do that. Oh, come on. Is it better now? Someone from Ghana. Also, if you can't hear, it's not my problem. Oh. Because a lot of people can hear me and I'm almost screaming at the top of my voice. Okay. So I think that the way we're going to do it, I'm going to just take some time out to go through the presentation for what, maybe 20 minutes. I'll try to be as explanatory because I want to be very clear in today's presentation so that we'll have a good understanding of the express entry and what is expected of us. I'm going to put up the chat when I'm doing the, I can't hear you. Close the window or some light inside. It's a door and we don't have blinds there. That's just the unfortunate thing. We don't have blinds, except I'll face the other part, and that's my kitchen. If it's bothering you, I can do that. I can turn the other way. If I sit facing the light source, so if I turn this other way, right? Okay, let me see this way. Let me face this way. 1 second. Oh, it's better. It is so much better, right? Yeah, it's better here. Okay, this is so much better. Okay, so yeah, it's better. Yeah. Okay. You should hear me. Like if you can't hear me and I'm screaming at the top of my voice, I don't know what to do. People can hear me. So if you can't hear me, I think you have to work on your audio. Let me lower everybody's hand. I want to see the number of people that can hear. If you can hear, please raise your hand, please. So I know the proportion of people that can hear. So almost everyone can hear. The person that can hear, so you can see the number of people that can hear. So I think I'm good to go. So I'm going to start, and then I'm going to have to mute the chats while I go through the presentation so that everybody can hear what I'm saying and can pay attention, and then we can take questions when we're done, okay? So let me do that. So you won't be able to chat again. Hopefully. And I'll just share my screen. Is there a way to show talking? Yeah. Yeah, there's a way to show that if that doesn't interfere. Okay, so good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Sheyi Obasi. And today we're going to be talking about how to become a Canada permanent resident in 6 months using the Canada Express Entry. So that is the route we're talking about today, how you can use the Canada Express Entry to become a Canada permanent resident in 6 months. So we're going to be doing it a bit differently. So today, we're going to be talking to a client. This is my office, this Sheyi's executive office. And in a few minutes, I have somebody that's coming in to consult regarding becoming a Canada permanent resident. And then we're going to be meeting this person together and then going to be showing them what they can do to become a Canada permanent resident, okay? So this is Michael. He's a prospective client, and he has come to my office. He is trying to make inquiry on how to become a Canada permanent resident. And then, of course, I'm asking him some questions. This is changing. Excuse me 1 second. I need to just come back here and check. Okay, so I'm checking, can everyone hear me? Like, am I still connected? If you can hear me, please, can you put in the chat? Because I have a second screen and it's not, you can hear, I can go on and you can see the screen. Okay, I have a second screen here and it's behaving. Okay, I just wanted to be sure, that's why I came back. Okay, so this is Michael. He wants to relocate to Canada and he wants to do it as soon as possible. He does not want to study. He's married with 2 kids. He wants to actually go to Canada with his family. And if possible, he wants to get a job before he goes or immediately he gets Canada. So that's the profile that he has given me. And then I start to ask him some questions about his education and his work history. He tells me he's an administrative manager. He has 4 years of work experience in a tech company. He has a BSc in business admin. He also has an MBA coincidentally. He's 37 years old and he has never traveled before. Now, based on his profile, and I start to give him advice, these are my recommendations to Michael. Since he doesn't want to study, I'm not even going to talk about studying in Canada, but he might qualify for one of the federal economic immigration programs in Canada, and that is what the Express Entry is. And the programs under the Express Entry are the Federal Skilled Worker Program, the Provincial Nominee Program. Other programs that he can consider are the Federal Skilled Trades Program, the Canadian Experience Class, and the Temporary Foreign Worker Program. Okay, these are some of the programs that Michael can qualify for. Now, the Federal Skilled Worker Program, which is the one that he is very likely to qualify for, is for skilled workers who have foreign work experience. So these are people who have work experience outside of Canada, but they must still meet certain criteria for education as well as other factors. The Canadian Experience Class is for skilled workers who have Canada work experience. So those who probably came to Canada to study or have been here to work temporarily, they qualify for the Canada Experience Class. The Federal Skilled Trades Program is for those who are qualified in a trade. But the thing about that is that they must have a valid job offer or a certificate of qualification. The Provincial Nominee Program is for people who have the skills and the work experience specified by different provinces. So provinces are like states in Canada. So maybe Lagos State that's what provinces are. So different states or different provinces have their own programs that people can qualify for. And the temporary foreign worker program is for people who want to gain temporary work experience in Canada. So that's just like a summary of what all these programs are. And the express entry is actually a pathway to permanent residence for skilled workers in Canada. Now, Michael has, of course, a lot of questions based on what I've already told him. How does the express entry work? How do I get started? Can I start today? Michael is really in a hurry. He wants to get out of his country as soon as possible, if possible, tomorrow. Which one do I qualify for? How much is it going to cost? And how long will the process take? And I'm telling Michael, you know what? These are awesome questions, and I'm going to be answering all of them. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is how the express entry works. Now, the express entry, like I said, is for skilled workers in Canada, and don't let that word skilled confuse you. And I'm going to explain a bit what that skilled means. It's a two-step process. So as long as you have skilled work experience, you can participate. So it's a two-step process. Number one is that you need to create and submit what is called an express entry profile. An express entry profile is like submitting an expression of interest. So you're telling the Canadian government that I am interested in becoming a Canada permanent resident. There are three things that you need in order to create and submit that profile. You need 1 year of skilled work experience. You need to show proficiency in a language test. So it's either English or French. And you need to have done an education credential assessment report if your study was outside of Canada. And then one thing about the express entry profile is that it expires after 1 year. So it has a shelf life of 1 year. After 1 year, it expires and you may need to create another profile. Now, once you create that express entry profile in this first step, you are added to an express entry pool where they add other people like you who are also putting in this expression of interest that, you know what, I'm creating this profile because I'm interested in becoming a Canada permanent resident. So they pack everybody who applies and put them in a pool, so to say. So that's step one. And then once you have entered that pool, you get a letter like this. So there's a confirmation you have been accepted in the express entry pool of candidates, and they show you these are the programs that you're eligible for. This is your score. This is your express entry profile number. And they also tell you your express entry profile date and tell you what happens next. You get that letter. Now, the second step of the process is that once you're in that pool, a score is generated for you. It's called a Crs score. It is calculated using the comprehensive ranking system, and you can only get a maximum of 1,200 points, okay? Now, the comprehensive ranking system is just a system that ranks you and gives you a score. It considers your work experience, your language scores, whether French or English or a combination of both, your education, your age, and it also considers other factors like the points you have. You get points for having family in Canada. You get points from your spouse. You get points for having a valid job offer in Canada. You also get points if you are nominated by a province. And then I've put a link there where you can go and simulate your points, so to say. You actually need to have your 1 year work experience, your English test, and your education credential, but you can go to that tool and actually just put in things as if you have everything, and it will give you an idea of the scores that you will have. Now, once you are in this pool, every 2 weeks, like clockwork, Canada does a draw from the express entry pool. Now, from that draw, they select people with the highest scores based on the cutoff for that period. Okay, so say the cutoff for that period is 400, for example. Anybody who has points of at least 400 and above are invited to apply for permanent residence. So those people get what is called an ITA. It's an invitation to apply for permanent residence. And the last draw, which was maybe it was on September 28th, over 3,000 people were invited from the pool who had the scores of, I think it was 508 and above, were invited to apply for permanent residence. Now, these people that have been invited to apply for permanent residence can now submit an application for permanent residence, okay? And the processing time for that is actually 6 months. Once you have submitted your application for permanent residence, the processing time is 6 months, and you can only submit an application for permanent residence after you have gotten that invitation to apply. You only have about 60 days after you have been given that invitation to apply for permanent residence. You have 60 days. And it's so sad that some people don't meet up even with that 60 days because they are not prepared, which is sad, okay? So that's step one, and that's step two. And I noticed that Michael was taking notes. You know, we're talking to Michael, he's taking notes, and he still has a lot of questions. I offered him some tea, and I told him, you know what, take some of your tea and still go ahead and ask your questions. And he still has a lot of questions. Am I eligible to apply? Do I qualify? How much is it going to cost? Which of course is a valid question. And he said he's 37 years old. He wants to know if he's too old. Yeah. And then he's asking about job prospects. What about job prospects? And will I be able to go with my family? He has all these questions, and I'm going to answer all the questions. Starting with the last one, of course, you can go with your family. One thing about the express entry is that you apply with your entire family, your entire direct family who are your dependents, whether they are accompanying you or not, which means that if you have stepchildren, you also apply for them, even if they are living with your other spouse. So you apply with your entire family, and if you get approved, everybody gets approved with you. So are you eligible to apply? The truth is that you must qualify for one of the economic immigration programs, and you must meet the minimum requirements, either the Federal Skilled Trades Program, Canada Experience Class, the Federal Trades Program, the PMP. You must qualify for something in order for you to get an ITA. You must have at least 1 year of continuous full-time work experience in any skilled occupation in the last 10 years. Okay, now skilled occupation is not skill like being a mechanic or being a tailor or whatever. Skilled experience in a skilled occupation is determined by the Canadian government. I'll show you in a bit. And it's also any job or occupation that you need to have been trained to do, okay? Or you need to have been educated to do. That's one thing. Then you must be able to demonstrate that you have taken a language test and you have met the minimum scores. And then for English language, the minimum score is 7, which means you must have 6 in all the 4 components of the test. And then you must have your education assessed by an ECA. It must be equal to a completed Canadian secondary school education, that's high school or a post-secondary credential. So whatever credential you have in your country, after you assess it, it must be equal to a completed high school, Canadian high school, or a post-secondary credential, which means that maybe a diploma or something, a degree, certificate, but it must be equal to something in Canada, okay? So funny enough, when it comes to education, if you have 2 or more degrees or diplomas, you can actually get more points. Now, the way it is for credential is that you use your highest level degree or certificate, because that is what will give you the most points. So if you have a BSc and a master's, you will actually do credential for your master's, because that's where you will get the highest points. You will get more points for master's than for BSc. However, if you have more than 1 degree, you get more points than if you have a single degree. For example, if you have a bachelor's degree and you have 2 bachelor's degree, or you have a bachelor's and a certificate, as long as one of those credentials is 3 years or more in length, you get more points. And then you have to do the ECA for both of those certificates in order for you to get the points. So you don't just do one ECA, you do the 2 of them. Okay, now how much does it cost? Now the cost that I've put here can change over time. So you need to actually confirm the real cost. There are 2 categories of costs. So there are costs that you have before you get that invitation to apply. There are costs that you have after you get the invitation to apply. The first two costs there are before you get the invitation to apply. You need to do your language test. That's your Ielts, CELP, TEF, whatever it is. It costs between $250 to $300 Canadian dollars, as at the last time I checked. You have to do your education credentials, or WES, as it's popularly called. And then it costs maybe around $200 Canadian dollars or so. Then after you get your invitation to apply, that's when you do biometrics, which costs like $85 per person if you haven't done biometrics in the last 10 years, okay? Then you pay the government fees to apply, which is $13.25 for an adult and $225 for a child. You do medical exams, and then you do police clearance certificate. This is just a snapshot of what it will cost for you to apply. for you to create an express entry profile and for you to apply for permanent residence application when you do get the ITA. So what about proof of funds? Now, because you're coming as a permanent resident with your family, you're not coming to land a job. There's no job waiting for you except you've already gotten a job. So you need to have some money for yourself and your family to live before you actually settle down, get a job and all that. Okay, so apart from those funds that we just talked about earlier, you also need to show proof of funds or proof of living expenses or whatever. And it's based on the number of people in your immediate family. So this table changes maybe every year or every other year. And this is the minimum amount that you need to immigrate to Canada as of June 9, 2022. And this is for express entry. So it's not for study or anything, it's for express entry. If you have more money than this, you should list the full amount in your profile or your application. Okay. Now, if it's just you don't have any family, it's $13,310. Yeah. If it's you and your spouse, $16,570. If you have a spouse and 2 children, so there are 4 of you, $24,733. If there are 7 of you in your family, $35,224. And then with every additional family member, you now add that amount, $3,586. So if there are 8 people, $35,224 plus 3,000, whatever. You must show this amount of money when you are applying for permanent residence. When you're creating your profile, you indicate that you have the amount. And when you're applying for permanent residence, you have to show them that you actually have that amount. And there are different ways that you can show proof of funds. And we also teach all of this in our program, okay? So is there an age limit? That's another question that he has. And the answer is no. There is no age limit to apply for express entry. But age is actually one of the factors that determines your scores. So the older you are, the less you score on the age factor. Yeah. The younger you are, the more you score on age factor. But then there are other things that you can do that can give you an advantage, even though you don't have as much scores in age. Okay. And then one thing is that provinces sometimes pick people with certain skills or occupation from the pool, irrespective of age or score. I know the last time that it was done, British Columbia picked administrative assistants from the pool. Yeah. And it didn't matter their scores, whatever their scores were, they just picked them from the pool. And then if you were not in the pool, you do not get picked. Okay. If a province picks you and gives you a provincial nomination, it's an automatic 600 points out of that 1,200 total CRS points we talked about. And once you get that 600 points, it is almost a guarantee that you receive an invitation to apply for permanent residence. Michael also wants to know if he needs a job for express entry. And a lot of people ask this question. And the truth is you do not need a job offer for express entry. The vast majority of people who get an invitation to apply do not have a formal Canadian job offer. However, if you do have a valid Canadian job offer, it can add up to 200 points to your CRS score. 200 points is a lot of points, okay? You only need a job to apply for a work permit. A work permit is not express entry. A work permit means I got a job offer and I want a permit to go to Canada to do that job. That is a work permit. Express entry is I want to come to Canada to become a permanent resident with all the benefits of a permanent resident, and then I can look for a job, okay? Permanent residence through express entry does not guarantee jobs, does not give jobs. You still need to come to Canada to get a job. However, if you have a valid Canadian job offer, you can get more points and increase your chances of being invited for permanent residence. Okay, so I mean, all of this is a lot of information for Michael, and he has taken notes, but he's also wondering, does my spouse need to take the Ielts exam? The answer is no. It is not compulsory that your spouse takes the exam. If they don't want to, I know a lot of spouses don't want to take, I wonder why. But if your spouse does take the exam, if they accompany you and they take the Ielts and they score a minimum of CLB4 in each of the tests, you get an additional 5 points towards your own CRS scores. Okay, their marks also increase yours. If they also go ahead and do worse, it also adds an additional 10 points to you. But if you have all the points and you don't need the points from your spouse, it's also fine. Now, Michael is also wondering, can he and his wife apply separately? Because you know he wants to leave as soon as possible and he wants to increase his chances. But he's saying that his wife is a business person. She doesn't work. So would she qualify? And the answer is absolutely yes. You can qualify as an entrepreneur, as a business person, or as a skilled worker. You can apply as a self-employed or business person. You have at least 1 year of self-employment. You have your articles of incorporation and other evidence that you own that business and that you've been getting income from that business. It's so important to show that your income comes from that self-employment, and you can show reference letters from your customers, reference letters from your bank, and all that. Of course, he and his wife can apply separately. So you and your spouse can actually apply separately, and whoever it is that gets an invitation to apply also includes the other person and the family, okay? So I and my husband can apply, he can apply, I can apply. If he gets picked, it covers me. If I get picked, it covers him. That's how it works. So $1 million question, how do I know if my work experience qualifies? Now, for now, as long as you have any skilled job in the National Occupation Classification, you can apply for express entry. Now, Canada has what is called the National Occupation Classification, where they have grouped all kinds of occupation, yeah, giving them different skill level. Now you have to be able to find your own job or your own whatever you do in that skill level to be able to choose a number for it, for example. Now you can find your NOC code by searching in the NOC matrix. You can search by job title, you can search by industry. It is important to make sure that the majority of the main duties that you do on your job matches what is on the NOC code. Now, this is the National Occupation Classification. It is Canada's national system for describing occupations. You can search the NOC to find where an occupation is classified or to learn about its main duties, educational requirements, other useful information. So for example, if you're an administrative manager, you can type administrative manager here. I am an administrative manager. You can, and you can search for the job title. So you can just write administrative manager or I work in a bank or bank teller, and then you click search. It will actually give you the NOC code and the duties for that job, okay? Now, if 70% of your own duties match what you see there, that means that is your NOC. This is very important because I know people who have gotten refused because they chose the wrong NOC. And whatever NOC you choose here should match whatever reference letter you get. So this is how you know that you qualify. So when you go and search for NOC, there are 3 levels of the National Occupation Classification. Jobs are grouped based on job duties, based on the work that the person does. Yeah. So there are 3 levels. There's skill type 0, there's skill type A, and there's skill type B. Skill type 0 are like management jobs. Yeah. So administrative manager, for example, restaurant manager, different kinds. There are so many. These are just examples. Those ones are skill type 0. Skill type A are professional jobs. Yeah. Usually call for a degree from a university. So something like a doctor, a dentist, a financial manager, something like that. They are skill type A. Skill type B are technical jobs and skilled trades that usually call for a college diploma or training as an apprentice. So something like chefs or plumbers or electricians. Those are skill type B. There's also skill type C, skill level C, which is not used for express entry, but it's used for other immigration programs for people who are already inside of Canada, okay? But for express entry, you need skill type 0, skill type A, skill type B. The only way you can know if your job qualifies is if you come here and you search for it and you get all the details of the job, okay? It is called the National Occupation Classification for Canada occupations, okay? So Michael is also asking, so which is easier? I get this question a lot. Is it, should I do study? Should I do express entry? Which one is better for me? The truth is, none of them is better or easier. Okay, none of them is better or easier because they have different criteria. Okay, if you study, you're coming to study. If it's express entry, you're coming to land as a permanent resident. Yeah, but you can still create an express entry profile even if you're trying the study route. You can have an express entry profile, you have done your WES, you have done your Ielts, and you're just waiting, but you're also processing your study. Even as a student, you can still qualify under this federal skilled worker. Yeah, you can still become a permanent resident while you are a student if you qualify for one of those federal economic programs. But the benefits of the express entry is that you become a permanent resident faster. For study, you still have to go through study and then you work and then apply for permanent residence. But through the express entry, you land Canada as a PR and you can start looking for skilled jobs as soon as possible. And in addition, when you create your profile, you are creating it for your entire family, whether they are accompanying you or not. Unlike study, where sometimes you might have to come first and then your family joins you, for express entry, this is for everybody, okay? And once you're in Canada, you can apply for government jobs. Government jobs are like the go-to jobs. Everybody likes government jobs in Canada. They pay a lot of money. They are very relaxed. So you can apply for those, you qualify for those, you get free health insurance, and then you also pay tuition for citizens. So if you come to Canada as a permanent resident and you want to go back to school, you can do that. And you don't have to pay international student fees. You pay fees like a citizen. So there are fees for permanent residents and citizens, which is like a quarter of what international students pay. You can also attend vocational schools that international students cannot attend. So maybe vocational schools, maybe schools that teach vocational skills. You can attend those. You can change your profession and get trained for that as well as a permanent resident, which an international student might not be able to do. You can get access to new immigrant government help resources. So all the provinces have like some sort of help for new immigrants. You get access to that. And your children that are below 18 years of age start getting paid immediately every month. They start getting paid. If you're a student, you have to wait 18 months for you to get this benefit. But if you land as a permanent resident, children 18 years and below get a stipend or a payment, what's called child benefit from the government every month, and it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So these are some of the advantages of express entry over study. But then, of course, they have different requirements and you can choose which of them you want to actually go for. Like I said, you can be a student and still create an express entry profile. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so this has been a successful consultation. I can see Michael is smiling. He's happy, his notes are full, and he knows what to do. So I've told him to give me a summary of what he's going to do as he leaves my office. So number one, he's going to go and prepare for his Ielts. And inside our express entry program, we have very good recommendations for him to prepare for his Ielts. We have a program that he can actually join and get a discount of 20% inside the express entry. He will quickly start his education credentials with WES because it takes a little bit of time. WES takes some time because it still has to go back to your school to get your transcript. So he's going to start WES at once, and he's going to make sure that his spouse also does her Ielts and she also starts her WES. The other thing he's going to do is going to go and look at his job duties so that he can determine his NOC code as quickly as possible. So as soon as he has the Ielts and his WES, he is ready to start. So whoever is also in the shoes of Michael, these are the four things that you need to do now. Prepare for Ielts, do your WES, get your spouse to do the same if you have a spouse and if they are willing to, and then determine your NOC code. Okay, so Michael didn't ask this question, but I'm going to answer it. What if I am a trades person? So there are some people who are butchers, bakers, they are tradespeople, and they're also interested in coming to Canada under the federal skilled trades program. Yes, you can. There's a program called the Federal Skilled Trades Program. They don't have as many draws as the Federal Skilled Worker Program, but they also have draws. Yeah, they pick them from the pool as well. The only thing is that you must have at least 2 years of full-time work experience in the last 5 years. And when they say you have 2 years of full-time work experience, you should be able to show that you have that 2 years of full-time work experience. You must have a valid job offer of full-time employment in Canada, or you have a certificate of qualification issued in Canada. So that's what makes this trade a little bit harder than the Federal Skilled Worker Program. Now, the skilled work experience is all of these ones, chefs and cooks, processing, manufacturing, control operators, agriculture. So it's not things like making hair or being able to sew clothes. It's not those kind of skills. These are skills that are needed in Canada, and that's why they are under the skilled trades program. So I just want to talk a little bit about why immigration is important to Canada. Now, immigration is so important to Canada now, yeah, because immigrants today make up about 65% of Canada's net annual population growth. Like, out of 10 people you meet on the road, 6 of them are immigrants, or their parents are immigrants, or their grandparents were immigrants. That is how the Canadian population is being grown, because 25% of Canada's population will be over 65 by 2035. There's an aging population here. So they need people that will come in and work and build the economy. They don't have as much children, so they don't have younger people to build up the economy. So Canada actually needs you, okay? It needs immigrants, and that's why you see everybody, every province struggling to get people that are skilled, people that are younger, people that are educated to come into their province and help build it. So that's why immigration is important. They make it look as if you are doing them a favor, they are doing you a favor. You are actually doing them a favor by coming here to work, to build the economy, to pay taxes. It's actually helping the Canadian government, okay? So from all these things that I've said, can you do the process on your own? So that's what a lot of people are asking. That's what Michael is asking as well. The truth is that the internet is full of all sorts of fancy video guides on immigrating to Canada. I'm sure if you go and type it in Google or in YouTube, so many videos, so many resources will come out. But sadly, many of these guides, including advice that you get from friends and family or friends and well-wishers, they are filled with half-baked information that could mean the difference between getting your application accepted or refused. There are so many people who don't have all the information, but they are putting themselves out as experts and giving people information. I see a lot of wrong information on the internet. So a lot of people have actually made mistakes that have cost them their chances of immigrating to Canada because they used all of this information that they got on the internet, okay? A lot of people have used this and it has cost them a lot of problems. So, I mean, because of time, I cannot tell you about Bukola or Musa, Susan, or Femi, Nkechi, or Emeka. These are some examples of people who had good intentions when they started this express entry journey, but they ended up with regrets because they made mistakes and errors that are avoidable, okay? Now, how can you avoid the errors that these people made? How do you submit an application that cannot be refused? How do you increase your chances of getting an invitation to apply? What do you do if you can't get a reference letter, which happens to a lot of people? What do you do if you don't have all the required documents? And what do you do if you don't have sufficient funds or you cannot get your police certificate from the countries that you have actually been to? You have 2 options. You can do it yourself, yeah? You can actually use the information that I've provided here. You can search the internet for free material, so to speak, and you can waste time and money trying to do this on your own. And I'm not saying it in malice or saying it because I'm trying to sell you something. Going through the internet and looking for information that is genuine is really difficult, okay? And then a lot of people have gotten into trouble by trying to do it yourself. But it's also one option that you can go for. The other option is that you can get help. You can borrow someone's brain. You can borrow someone's expertise who knows what they're doing, who has been through that, to help you to achieve your goal. In this case, you save time and money. So which one would you go? I would actually advise that you go and borrow someone's brain, borrow someone's expertise. It doesn't have to be me. It can be a lawyer, it can be an immigration lawyer, an immigration consultant, whoever. But it is always important when it comes to Canada immigration, especially express entry, to try and get some sort of help. Okay, now, personally, I have put together a masterclass that can help you to be successful. The information that I've given you, you can actually take all of that information and go and do it. Yeah, I've given, like I told you, everything basically that you need to do on how you need to do it to actually go and create your express entry profile, get your invitation to apply, determine your knock code, and then apply when you actually do get an invitation to apply. However, if you need help, further help, you need guidance, you need someone to bounce ideas with, you can actually look through this masterclass. It can help you to be successful with your express entry. It is a comprehensive and detailed guide that will assist you in preparing and submitting a Canada express entry profile and an application that cannot be refused. When it comes to express entry, it's not like study, yeah? So this is not something that the visa officer is using their church mind or using their being subjective about. Express entry is clean and clear. It's either you qualify or you don't qualify. It's either you get the documents or you don't get the documents. It's either you understand the requirements or you don't. And Canada visa officers are not going to call you and say, excuse me, madam, you forgot to add this. If it's not there, because they have so many applications and they have a one-touch principle, they touch your application, everything is not there, they refuse it. If you like, you can take them to court. So they have that one-touch principle. If you ignore the strategies, the tips, everything that you need, especially things we share in the Express Entry Masterclass, you might hate yourself later. I have so many stories. I have people in the Canada Japan system who did Express Entry, got refused for silly reasons, okay? So you don't want it because every year you get older. Your Ielts lasts for only 2 years. You can imagine waiting for 1 year in the pool, getting your invitation, and then not having it. You have to go and start doing Ielts again. It's really sad. So you get lifetime access to a complete step-by-step video tutorial, shows you how to do it yourself, okay? It shows you how to do it yourself. We have checklists, templates, sample documents, all are designed to make your express entry process as effortless as possible, while giving you the tools that you need to ensure that your application gets approved the first time. Because like I said, those second chances are usually not available for so many reasons. So in this masterclass, you will learn how to increase your chances of getting an invitation to apply. This is the main thing why you're creating the profile. You want that ITA. It's like a magic email. Magical email, you want to get that email. You want it to show you how to properly complete your profile when you actually get the ITA. That is another level completely. In fact, that is where the bulk of the work is. How to select your proper knock code, how to increase your CRS scores, and how to increase your Ielts scores. So we have partnership with certain Ielts programs in the masterclass. You get a discount. You also get the opportunity to be tutored by Ielts coaches, okay? What do you do if you don't get a reference letter? You learn what to do if you don't have sufficient funds. You learn how to prepare a letter of explanation, especially if you can't provide something, you can actually write a letter. These are all the things you learn in the masterclass. So you should take this masterclass if you want to come to Canada as a skilled worker with your family, you want to submit your own application, you're not willing to spend thousands of dollars for a representative, even though we do have that professional help as well, if that's what you want. You need guidance on how to prepare your application from someone who knows what they are talking about, and you want to submit an application that actually cannot be refused. Okay, so I just show you a little bit of the modules that we have inside the Express Entry Masterclass. We have 18 modules. These are all video tutorials. They are short videos. They are not very long, but of course they have links to where you could get other information as well. So there's 18 modules talking specifically about things like job offers, proof of funds, dependent family. Who is your dependent family? How can your dependent family spoil your application? What do you do about that? Language tests, change of name, spousal relationship, everything that you need to know. We have samples, templates, letters, and we also have a bonus section and a miscellaneous section where we have FAQs, and then we'll talk about a bit of other things, okay? We also have 2 amazing bonuses that on their own can stand as separate courses, but they are bonuses for you when you join the Express Entry Masterclass. There's this temporary foreign worker program. Now we have a bonus that shows you how you can get a job in Canada under the temporary foreign worker program. Now the TFWP is a program of Canada that allows employers in Canada to hire foreign nationals on a temporary basis. Now this was one of the options that I showed to Michael at the beginning, if you remember. So because of the shortage of labor in Canada, a lot of employers are searching for temporary foreign workers. Yeah. And then, it's not all kinds of jobs. Okay. So these are jobs that are temporary. So it can be for 1 year, it can be for 2 years, it can be for a limited number of time. And you actually do not require IELTS or WES, but you do need to get the job. Okay. You do need to have a job in order to apply for work permits under the temporary foreign worker program. Now, the graph on the right shows the number of roles that have been approved by occupation in the first quarter of 2022. And as you can see, the most that they take for temporary foreign worker program is general farm workers. Okay. Canada is an agricultural country. It's a farming country. So there are lots of farms. You drive through, you will see farms all over the place. Now, during the summer and the winter, when they need to do harvesting or planting, they actually get temporary workers, because a lot of people in Canada who are permanent residents or citizens do not want to do these jobs. Okay. So the employers a lot of times employ people from the Philippines. Those are the people that usually come, to do these jobs temporarily, farm jobs, which are almost like physical jobs, and then they go back. Okay. So they also take cooks, greenhouse workers, construction helpers, transport truck drivers, but the bulk of them is the farm workers. And sadly, this is where like a lot of fake agents or people actually dupe people, because they promise them jobs, they promise them accommodation, flights, and heaven and earth, which is usually not correct, because an employer will not be giving accommodation. They do give accommodation, but they will not be paying for your flight and all that. I'm not saying it's not true. There are employers that do it, but the majority of them are false. Okay. And that's the reason why I've added this bonus. Okay. It is not a full course. It is a bonus in the Express Entry Masterclass. It shows you how to get a job under the temporary foreign worker program. We also give details of some recruiters that recruit for temporary jobs, because I do get people sending me letters to confirm, is this true? Is this not true? Is this real? And a lot of time, I'm telling you, 70% of the time, they are fake job offers. Okay. Some of them did not go for interviews. Some of them cannot find those companies on the internet. There are companies that actually recruit for temporary jobs. Okay, we share that information and show you how to go about searching and applying for the job. And I also send job postings to those who have the Express Entry. When I see genuine job postings, I send it. There are people here in Canada who have used those job postings to get temporary jobs. They are here now and they are working. Okay. And this is also a route that they can use to permanent residents. So with this, you can avoid scams. You can avoid fake job offers, because a lot of people are confused. They don't know which is real. That is what this bonus is going to do for you. It is an amazing bonus. And then if it's just temporary jobs you are looking for, this will also help you. The second bonus is the ABCs or the Provincial Nominee Program. Now, the PNPs is another way that people can use to come to Canada, especially if you cannot get the Express Entry. And there are so many provinces in Canada, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, that have easy PNP programs. And now Alberta as well is trying to attract people. So each of those provinces is trying to attract people. And this bonus shows you the details of the PNP program for the 10 provinces in Canada and how they work, especially those that do not require job offer requirements. So most of these PNPs want you to have a connection to the province or a job offer. This bonus gives you details of the provinces that do not need a job offer, the easiest provinces to get the nomination. If you add a provincial nomination to your Express Entry, there is no way you will not get that invitation to apply. And then some provinces have their own standalone programs that they use to invite people to their province. So this is an amazing bonus to get, okay? And then how to go about getting that provincial nomination to get you a PNP nomination for you to come to Canada. And I also wanted to talk about the Alberta PNP, which just opened a new immigration path for religious workers, because that's what's reigning now. So Alberta just started a new immigration path for religious workers. They are not the first province to do it. There are other provinces, Ontario, Saskatchewan, I think, that also have this kind of immigration path for religious workers. However, you must still meet the existing program requirements, which is all the things we talked about: language, education, and wage requirements. You must receive a job offer from an Alberta-based faith organization. So, and a faith-based organization, which is maybe a church, a mosque, whatever, must give you a job offer, maybe to come and be a pastor, come and be an organ player, come and be an assistant pastor. You must get that job offer. So there are 3 ways. That's one of the ways. The second way is that you must be invited to work in an Albertan rural community. That is the rural renewal stream. So let's say a church in a rural community in Alberta invites you to come and work. Okay, so that's like an invitation to come and work for them, invitation to come and do a missionary job or something. That is also a pathway to use this immigration path. And then the last one is using the express entry, which we just talked about. So Alberta is going to be picking people from the pool that either demonstrate strong ties to Alberta, maybe they have chosen Alberta, or maybe they have a relation there, or they are working as clergies or as religious workers, which means that your knock code shows that you are either a pastor, a sort of clergy, or a religious worker, and you are in the next express entry pool. They can actually come to the pool and pick people. That is why it is so important to be in the pool, okay? Because Alberta now is looking for religious workers. They are a religious company, they are a religious province. Alberta has had issues because they are oil province. And in the last few years, there's been a lot of problem with oil in Canada, and a lot of people have been losing their jobs, yeah? So people were not wanting to go to Alberta. So Alberta is trying to attract people. So this is also a province that you can look at, especially if you have a friend or a relation in Alberta. This is the time to talk to them. You need to be talking to people there because they are on ground. They would know maybe their church or a certain community that might need people, and they will be able to help you. So this is where you need to start making connections to people you know in Alberta. Okay, so how much is the express entry? That's what we're talking about. The express entry involves the express entry masterclass, which is the main program, and then the 2 bonuses, the temporary foreign worker program and the ABCs of the provincial nominee program. These are the 2 bonuses. Temporary foreign worker programs also includes job postings when there are job postings that can, that can benefit you. So I'll be posting jobs as I see them and as I get them to those who have purchased this. And of course, when there are updates on the province, maybe there's a province that has brought out a new program or that has adjusted a program, you will also be getting the emails. So just a reminder of what you are getting. You and your entire family can come to Canada as permanent residents at last. You get knowledge about the temporary foreign worker program and the PMPs. These are other routes to permanent residence for those that are outside of Canada. You get all the benefits of being a permanent resident that we talked about. You get a chance to avoid mistakes in your application and a step-by-step guide that you can follow to be successful. And all of that is only $60,000, 60,000 naira, sorry, which is even less than $100, okay? 60,000 naira. So at this point, I mean, if you have shut down, or if you are angry, or if you are sad of having to spend 60,000 naira to get yourself and your family to become Canada permanent residents, to make Canada your new home, and you can of course be jetting between Nigeria, Ghana, and Canada, wherever you want to go as a permanent resident. Even as a student, you can go in and out. You just show your permanent resident card. You do not need a visa to enter Canada, and you can easily get visas to the US because the US is just next to Canada as a permanent resident. And in my opinion, 60,000 is less than the value that this program is providing. Just the bonuses alone, I'm sure the value of that is over 250,000. But of course, because I understand the economics of the country, my home country, Nigeria, Ghana, and all other countries, I have placed this at 60,000 as the entry point, but I don't know how long it's going to be. The price might change, but this is what you are going to pay to get access to the Canada Express Entry Masterclass and those 2 amazing bonuses. So the Express Entry can make you a Canada permanent resident in record time. And then, there were rumors that there will be occupation-specific draws that will start in 2023. Those rumors have been confirmed. Now, what that means is that right now, when Canada makes the draw from the pool, they take everybody. So regardless of your occupation, even if you're an administrative assistant, you are a clerk, you're a customer support person, they pick everybody. Now, however, in 2023, they are going to be picking people based on occupation. So they can make an occupation-specific draw for tech people alone or for finance people alone. It's going to benefit some people, but it's not going to benefit others. And you want to be able to get your permanent residence through express entry before they start that, especially if you don't have a very lucrative occupation. Okay, this will benefit people that have lucrative occupation, but if you don't have a very lucrative occupation, this is not a good thing. And then you and your entire family can be Canada permanent residents before any major changes affect you. So make haste while the sun is still shining. Stop wasting time. Stop looking at the amount of money you're spending. If you want to immigrate to a new country, you have to spend money, okay, to do that. You're coming to a new country that is also very big on immigration. And it's not just about you, it's about your children, it's about your grandchildren. All of them become permanent residents just because you became permanent residents, okay? Okay, so if you want to take a leap to achieve your Canada dream using the permanent residence express entry, you contact whoever has invited you to this webinar. You ask them for a link to purchase, okay? Because whoever has invited you here is an affiliate to the program, is authorized to sell the program, so they can give you a link. So no link will be shared here. You have to go back to them and ask for a link. No matter who you buy from, you still get lifetime access to the same program, and you still get access to me. So my details, contact details, email, phone number, the special email for express entry is inside the express entry masterclass. Okay, so do this now before the price increases or before it gets even harder. So thank you for listening. I'm hoping I didn't take too much time. I was just trying to explain it as much as I can, but I thank you for listening, and I will stop sharing my screen and I can answer some questions now. Okay, so thank you, everybody. So if you got value, just raise your hand. I got value. I was listening, but I got value. Raise up your hand. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to unmute. I'm going to unmute the chat. Like, I'm going to allow you to chat in. You're going to send in your questions. I'm going to close the chat and read the questions. So I'm going to give 5 minutes for that. But while we're waiting for you to answer your question, I'm going to also call on some people to also ask questions verbally while we're waiting for that, okay? I'm going to put everybody's hand down. Open the chat box and you can start asking your questions. I put your hand down. Why is your hand up now? I didn't say you should. Oh my God. Okay, so raise your hand if you want to ask questions. And then try and ask your questions in the chat as well. So the IELTS is general. The express entry is general IELTS. It's not academic. Almost everything about Canada is general IELTS. So you can do the general IELTS. You don't do the academic one. It is not acceptable for express entry. So who raised their hands first? Let me see. I don't know if everybody raising their hand wants to ask a question. So there's Olayinka, Oyebanji. You can unmute and ask your questions while we wait for people to put in their question.
All right, thank you very much. My question is if can you hear
No, we can't hear you, but we can hear you, but there's like some sort of interference.
what about now?
No, it's bad. It's bad. So we have to ask another person. Johnny K, you can unmute yourself and ask if you have a question. If you don't have, I can move to the next person. Johnny K, C-A-Y.
Johnny K. Good evening, ma.
K, good evening.
Yes, ma. My question, I have a question, but it's on study route stuff.
No, today is
I
not.
don't know if I can.
No, you can't. Sorry. So we have enough questions in the chat. I'll just go there now. So what do you say? You can't hear me? You can hear me? Oh. It's you. Okay. I'll stop it and I'll start from the beginning answer. Let's see. Let's start. Oh my God. Well. Okay, I am 46. I am 46 years, female medical doctor with a master's in public health with 2 kids. It's express entry for me based on age. So like I said when I was presenting, there is no age limit for express entry. You just have to create a profile and see your score, okay? And then you have a very good occupation. So who knows, one province might want to pick people who have public health. So you have to create your profile and see. But anybody can do express entry. Do I need to have someone in any province before applying for PMP? Okay, so a lot of the provinces want you to have a connection. And that's why people in Canada who come either as temporary workers or as students, they have an advantage over people outside Canada, is the truth. If you're in Canada, you have an advantage. You do not need to have anybody in the province, but there are some provinces like Manitoba or Saskatchewan that if you have someone there, it is an advantage, but you don't really need to. And you know, some of those provinces that will show in the bonus in the express entry, you don't need anybody in the province in order to get nominated. What if you want to use both routes? How much? You will buy them separately now. This one is 60,000. Japa system is 40,000. You will get the video. Yes, we're recording. Can temporary workers come with family? So temporary workers, you have to come by yourself at first. I think your family can only join you after 6 months or something like that. So if you're a temporary worker, you come at first. Since it's temporary, you know, you have the same problem as the students to prove that we will return after my temporary work is over, okay? But you can come with family after 6 months. Okay, I've answered this. How much if I want a professional person to do it? So you actually have to get the express entry to find out how much a professional can do it for you. So we can help you create your profile, but you also have to do your Ielts and your WES. Nobody can do that one for you. How can I get the express entry? I already explained. So whoever invited you, ask them for the link. They can give you the link. This is the same question. Is the application starting for the 2023 so as to apply online? So express entry is a continuous program. It's every 2 weeks. So there's no starting time. It's on now. You can enter the pool anytime. Are social workers also needed in Canada? Social workers are needed in Canada. As a PR, do you automatically get a house to live in? No way. You see, that's why you have a proof of funds so that you can pay rent. You don't automatically get a house. You don't automatically get anything. You automatically get permanent residence. That's all you get. What is the score for Ielts here? So you have to have at least 6 in all of them, but you have to try to get higher because the higher mark you get, the higher your score. So I would advise you to try and get the highest mark that you can for IELTS, and it's doable. You know, I'm not bragging. I know a lot of people are like me I got an average of 8.5 in my IELTS, and I just did it once. So I don't see any reason why people can. With the 60K, do I have guarantee of getting to Canada? Now, no, you don't have guarantee. You don't even have guarantee that you wake up tomorrow. So no, you don't have guarantee. I'm 30 with a spouse and 2 kids. Can I bring my widowed mom as family? Okay, so for the express entry, your dependents are your spouse, your children, and your grandchildren. Your mother is not your dependent. However, as a permanent resident, you can invite your mother to come and visit you, okay? But you cannot add her to your application. I have submitted my profile and they said I'm not eligible. What should I do now? So you need to get the express entry masterclass. We have a module that tells you what to do if your profile has been seen to be ineligible. So there's something wrong. You have to actually get the profile to determine what is wrong. The express entry masterclass, there's something wrong with your profile. That's why. Does the masterclass include English test tutorials? So we have a module for English test. We have a little lesson there about English test. We also have links to other materials. So yes, it does include English test tutorials. You have a question, ask it now. Since I have a question, you took your time to type, I have a question. I didn't put the question. How long does the express entry processing take? Express entry processing itself takes 6 months. Now you can be in the pool for 1 year and not get invitation to apply. So the 6 months is from the time that you submit your invitation for permanent residence. That is when it's 6 months. Is it possible to get a job from one's home country? Yes, it is. Can you use self-pip instead of Ielts? Yes, you can actually use self-pip. I don't think self-pip is being done in Nigeria, but self-pip is another English test that is accepted for permanent residents. Can you do the process A to Z for a client? Yes, I can, but the client has to do their own Ielts. So they have to do an Ielts and we can do the rest. What do you do if you don't have enough proof of funds? You need to get the express entry masterclass to find out. How can I pay the 60,000? Just ask the person that invited you to this webinar. Can someone going for temporary work go with their spouse? I've answered them. Must we be in the pool for the PNP? Yes and no. Okay. So there are PNPs that are affiliated with the express entry, so to say. There are PNPs that you do not have to be in the express entry to get. Can my mom be my dependent? No. What are the things that are needed to get in the express entry? That is what I just explained like 30 minutes ago. What about working as a flight attendant? What about it? I've only been hearing the advantages of living in Canada. What do you think are the disadvantages? Okay, that is a great question because actually Canada, people in Canada have different experiences. Canada is great for me, but there are people that have come to Canada and it's not so great. So the disadvantages are sometimes when you want to work, if you are coming here as an AGM or a senior manager, you will not be an AGM or a senior manager here. Do you understand? So you have to be ready to rise through the ranks. You have to be ready to look for a job. And for some people, in 1 month, they get the job they want. Some people, it takes 6 months. You have to be able to cope with the cold. Canada is cold. Do you understand? We do have summer when it is sweet and warm, but in the winter, it is very cold. So those are some of the disadvantages that I know. And there are other people that you can talk to. They will tell you more, but Canada is good for me. Yeah. So it depends on the person, I guess. Can one's family travel with him if he secures work permit? I've answered that. At 47, yes, you can still apply for express entry. I want to be clear. You said one can go without a degree, just a high school certificate equivalent. Okay. So you can actually create an express entry profile with a high school diploma. However, like I said, you are fighting for points. The points of a high school diploma is lower than the points of a national diploma, which is also lower than the points of a BSc. So yes, you can enter the pool with a high school diploma, but are you going to get picked? What scores are you going to get? The higher your education, the higher your points. So yes, you can enter with a high school diploma. Does the payment for the masterclass have a duration? I said it was lifetime access, so it doesn't have a duration. What option does a 45-year-old with 2 kids have? I've answered this question. Can my partner certificate also add to my points? Yes. If your partner does their ECA, it adds to your points. Can I apply at age 47, having 18 years? Yes, this 47 is coming up too much. Can someone in his early 20s, but with just secondary school certificates, relocate through the express entry? Yes, they can, in their 20s, but they need to have that 1 year of skilled work experience. If they have that, they can apply. If you have done West Credential about 5 years ago, it's still valid. So West Credential lasts for 5 years. Ielts lasts for 2 years. So they expire. So if you did West 5 years ago, you have to do it again. That's expired. What if I have Canadian education? You do not need West evaluation if you schooled in Canada. You only need it if you schooled outside Canada. I want to ask if a person with BSc and 33H can get higher score. You have to go and try now. What is your, I don't know what your Ielts is. All those things also add. These are the same questions. Can you please convert 60,000 naira to dollars? Remember, I think it's $136 or so. You pay, ask the person who sent you here to pay. I got 6.5 in general IELTS. Is it okay? No. You have to have a total of 7. So 666 in everything. You will get the recording. You will get the recording. Okay, so when you say family, is an extended family included? No. Your nephew is not included. It's your children, your stepchildren, your spouse, and your adopted children. There's no age limit. Is high school diploma? Yeah, I've answered this. My question is about West. Hope my maiden name will not affect. No, names do not matter. So I had my maiden name on my certificate as well. It doesn't affect anything. So if you have a marriage certificate, it shows that you have changed your name. How do I go about the general IELTS? You need to get the master class now, or you go to Google and type how to do IELTS. It will tell you. So the other routes, apart from extra entry, can it get us PR? Yes. PNP can get you PR. Temporary resident work permit can also get you PR as well. What happens if your spouse is not educated or does not go to formal school? If your spouse is not educated, there's no problem now. Your spouse must not be educated. You just add them to your, the only thing is that they will not do the IELTS and they will not do West. It doesn't matter. Educated or not, they are your spouse. How can I pay for West? So you go to west.org, I think, and you get all the information. What's the possibility of getting a job if I landed Canada as a PR? So like I said before, to get a job in Canada, you will get a job now. I mean, of course you get a job. There are so many people landing as PRs, they are working. And the thing is that you might not get your dream job at once, okay? So if you have a dream job of maybe being, I don't know, maybe a bank manager, you might not get it. So you have to start with what you can get so that at least your family can be eating and then you continue. So the thing about Canada jobs, you need to network. You need to know the way. They have their own way of getting jobs here. You know the way our own is under the table. They have their own way too. You have to start to connect to people. There are some jobs that they do not post. The last job that I got, my friend told me they did not put it anywhere. Yeah, so if you have good friends, they will tell you when their company is recruiting. You understand? So you have to start to make connections in church, in school, in your child's school, meet people, tell them you're looking for a job. I'm telling you, before you know what is happening, you will get a job. So someone says, I'm interested in the pastoral entry stuff. How do I get into the pool? So that is exactly all the thing we talked about in the presentation. If you were not here, you need to actually get the recording. I'm 60 years old. I'm a retired banker. Excuse me, what are my chances? So if you have 1 year of skilled work experience in the last 10 years, you can go into the pool. But if you are retired, you know, Canada is looking for people that can contribute to the economy. So if you are retired, you have to think about how you're going to contribute to the economy for you to become a permanent resident. If you have older children, they can become permanent residents and they can sponsor you. Because as a permanent resident, you can sponsor your parents, you can sponsor your grandparents to be permanent residents too. So there's a parent and grandparents route for those who have permanent residents. So that's another cool thing. You can sponsor your parents. Okay, I've answered this. People keep asking about my mother and siblings. If I have 2 in my first degree, this one is not. So when it comes to permanent residence, it doesn't matter what you have. 2, third class, first class, it doesn't matter. You can have anything. The important thing is that you have the degree and it is equivalent to a Canadian degree or a Canadian diploma. It doesn't matter whether it's third class. So permanent residence does not look at what grade you graduated with. What's the procedure for PR, non-express process? I don't understand. What are the chances of a 53-year-old with, so this 53, 60, 47, all of you have already answered that question. It's the same answer. So academic IELTS cannot be used for express entry. No, they will not accept it. It must be general. Can someone with PR nominate one for provincial? No, nobody can nominate you. The province itself has to nominate you. Can someone put in for the program without IELTS? No, you need IELTS to even create a profile. Now, if you have an IELTS already, and even though it's not so good, you can use it to create your profile, and you can go back and start preparing for another IELTS to get a higher score. You can always come back to change it. Okay, so your express entry profile is not set in stone. If you get a better IELTS result, you just come there and update it, and your scores will go higher. So, you know, you can just start with what you have. Okay, I beg, off your video. Which one is that? I'm Bosse from Nigeria. Please, I need to relocate to Canada to study. No, this is not study. I did not hear at all. Can I see pictures of what? Is 60,000 your charge for the whole program? 60,000 is for the master class. So if I'm able to get provincial nomination, will that automatically bring me out from the general pool? Yes, it will. I do not have an office in Nigeria. Somebody's asking. Sorry, I don't have an office in Nigeria. I'm so sorry. I don't. Can my husband in the US also do the IELTS? Yes, now. You can do IELTS from anywhere. I think it's a worldwide program. Is it an automatic guarantee that I will receive ITA if I meet the cutoff mark? Yes. So if you meet the cutoff mark, you will get an invitation to apply. So this is the way it works. So let's say the cutoff is 500. They will invite everybody that has 500 and above, but there's a date. So there's a date. So they will say anybody who was in the pool as of, today is 8th as of 5th of October, for example. So if you submitted your profile on the 8th of October, even though you got that 500, you were not in the pool on the 5th, you will not get it. So there's a cutoff point, there's a date point, and the date is usually close to the dates that they are making the announcements. So I just need to say that as well. Can I get a number to make inquiries? My number is in the Express Entry Masterclass. You can make inquiry from whoever has sent you to the webinar. If the person is an affiliate, they also have my contact as well. So yes, we will also send the recording. I'm surprised that people are saying that they did not hear anything. Can't I go as a Nigerian to Canada without IELTS? No, no, no. I schooled in Canada and I still did IELTS to become a permanent resident. So you cannot avoid IELTS. I'm so sorry. You must take it. How long can we leave the proof of funds untouched in our account? So proof of funds for permanent residents, express entry is different from proof of funds for study. So you need to actually get the masterclass. I'm not going to be able to discuss that here. To know how to deal with proof of funds for express entry. Is teaching a skilled work? Yes, teaching is a skilled work. Can a 28-year-old guy apply for the express entry as a skilled worker with a 2-year? Yes, now with 2-year work experience, yes. So long as your work experience, you can find it in that NOC code. It's in that national occupation classification, you can qualify. If you are ready, someone says, can I get your email directly? Plus, I'm ready to pay for the package. I'm currently in Russia. My spouse is in Nigeria. How do we apply together? You will apply together. Now, my email is in the masterclass. How did you get to this webinar? However way you got here, go back to wherever you found the link or whoever sent you an invitation. Tell them that you want to jump into the express entry. they will send you a link where you would pay. What documents do I need for West? Your certificate and your transcript. How can we get the recording of the Zoom meeting? So whoever invited you, I'm going to send the Zoom meeting recording to them. So whoever invited you is probably one of our partners or one of our affiliates. Okay, so they will send the recording to you. Someone who wants to relocate to Canada but has not finished his ND, or someone that is not a graduate. If you have not finished your ND, finish it now. Canada is not running away. Finish it. If you are not a graduate, you can also apply for express entry. You do not need to be a graduate. However, if you're a graduate, you have better chances than if you are not a graduate, okay? So there's the way that they have done the express entry to favor those who are graduates than those who are not. Even though if you're not a graduate, you can still jump in the pool. And depending on your age and other things, you have a relation in Canada. If you get a PMP, you get invitation, whether you are a graduate or not. Someone says, I'm so grateful for this webinar. Can you share the recorded video? Yes, I'll share it. I have diploma and bachelor in engineering. Will I need to provide my secondary school qualification for what now? If it's for express entry, it's only your highest qualification. Nobody cares about other things. So if you have a master's, they are only interested in your master's. They don't even want to see your bachelor's or your secondary school. So it's your highest qualification that you are presenting. Can I apply to express entry while in Canada? Yes, now, definitely. You can do express entry while you're in Canada. You can do express entry after you finish studying. You can do express entry as a student. However, if you're in Canada, you have so many other routes. Plenty, beaucoup, full everywhere that you can do, but you can do express entry from Canada. Is there a route? Is there any route for funding? I don't understand that question. I've answered this question. When is the masterclass starting? It's after the payment of the fee. Care assistant, how do we go about it? Is it the Ielts? So this is a general express entry for any skilled occupation. Can you people hear that noise? My son is playing a game. If it is disturbing, I'll tell him to put it up. I can hear it. Anyway, so it's not for care assistants. So there is a different program for people who want to be home care workers. So this is not it, okay? This is express entry. Does my spouse need credential evaluation? Your spouse doesn't need to do it. But if they do it, it will help you. How much is the monthly stipend for children? I don't know here, but you know, some children get as much as 500 and something, 600, and they recently increased it. Me, the money just enters my account. I don't even care to know how much. So there's a stipend that they pay your children. It's sizable amount. I think it's up to $600 for each child, depending on the age, but I'm not so certain. So I think I've answered all the questions. Let me see. All the questions that were asked. So I'm going to open it up again. And when I open it up, I'm also going to choose people to ask questions. You can now put your questions in the chat. It's open. I'm also going to call someone to ask questions while we are waiting for. So if you have questions, type them. We've almost been here 1.5 hours. So we have like 30 minutes or so to talk. I'm going to put everybody's hand down. Omolara, ask your question. If you have a question, if you don't, I can go to the next person. Do you have a question, Omolara? No. Okay. Happiness. Do you have a question?
Yes,
yeah,
I do. Good evening. Happiness is speaking.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. I actually want to make something. I want to get something clear. Okay. I have BSc, but my husband have WAEC results. So I want to be the one to apply. But is it a must that if I am the main applicant and my husband is the dependent, must I be the one to work? Is it a must I must be the one to work? Should I work because I freelance? I work from home. So is it a must that when we get to Canada, I must apply for a job since they have given me permanent residence since we are not permanent resident, is it a must that I must work? Can I continue my freelance while the husband look for the job, do the job search? That's what I want to know.
Okay, thank you, Happiness. No, it is not a must that you must work. Maybe a must. It's not. There are so many people here who don't work. They do their business. So no, your husband can be the one to. It's both of you that are permanent residents. You are just the principal. As soon as you get permanent residence, everybody gets. The children get. You get. Everybody gets the permanent residence. So no, you do not have to work. It is not a requirement for permanent residents. Okay, so I'll go to the question now. I think we have plenty of questions and I can actually ask, or I can actually start. There's no special discount. Somebody's asking for special discount for people who attend the webinar. There's no special discount though. Okay, so there seems to be a lot of questions about West. Someone says, I don't understand West yet. So, so in order to apply for permanent residence through the express entry, Canada needs to be able to evaluate your degree that is equivalent to a degree here. So for example, if you have a BSc, if you have a high school diploma, if you have a diploma, they have to be able to say, this your diploma from Nigeria is equivalent to a diploma in Canada. If it's not equivalent to a diploma in Canada, then they cannot call it a diploma. Now, in order to do this, there are education credential organizations that will take that your degree, look at all your courses, and then be able to say at the end of the day that this is equivalent to this. So that's what the education credential is. Now, the reason why we're calling West is because West is one of the educational credential companies. There are so many others. Now, people who are in the medical team, they don't use West, even though West can do it. There's another organization that is more suited to them. So West, that's what West does. That's what we call West. So they will evaluate and say that your high school diploma is equivalent to a high school diploma in Canada. And then you can always go to their website to start it. So there's a website for West. They have their website, they have their requirements. They will tell you what they need if you go to their website. Okay, so it's easy. That's what West is. Okay, so let me just go and start from where did I stop? Can we get the video? Yes, you can get the video. Where did I stop? How can we get the recording? How are people still asking that question? You get the recording now. Okay, I think I stopped here. Can I talk more? So someone says, do I still need the express entry pool if I have a wife who's schooling in Canada currently and has a permanent residence in Canada? How do I get through it? So if your wife is a permanent resident in Canada, I'm wondering how your wife is a permanent resident and you are not. Or did they get married to you after they became permanent residents? Well, so if your wife is a permanent resident, they can actually sponsor you. So there's the spousal sponsorship. Your wife or your husband can sponsor you if they are permanent residents. So you do not need the express entry. Can I get a breakdown in terms of Naira for everything? So I have put the breakdown in the presentation in Canadian dollars. You can go and do the conversion. I don't have it in Naira. Is it possible to pay for masterclass twice? No, I don't think so. The current cutoff for express entry, the last one that was done, I think was 508, and it has been coming down steadily. And the reason why it's that high is because for the last 2 years plus, there was no express entry draws. And so because of that accumulation, that's why the points are high, but they have been coming down steadily. Between sponsorship and dependent, I don't even know what is that. Dependent is your dependent, so it's your spouse, anybody that depends on you. So I don't know what sponsorship. Start to finish for the express entry, I cannot say. So I don't know how long you will be in the pool, but as long as on the moment you submit your application, it is 6 months. You can apply for express entry and PNP at the same time. Someone say, what do you mean by province? Oh my God, I already explained what a province is. So a province is like a state. So I live in Ontario. Ontario is a province. There are other provinces like British Columbia, Saskatchewan. So those provinces are like states, and under the states, they have cities, okay? So that's what a province is. What is the chance for a photographer who has a diploma? If the photographer meets all the requirements, then he has a chance. So the least score for IELTS, you must have 6 in everything. I am a banker. Which knock can I choose? By the Excess Entry Masterclass. Is there any route for clergy? Yes, I just explained the Alberta PNP for clergy. So there is a route for clergy. If you go and look at the video or the recording, you will see that. Can Spantran also evaluate your credential? I don't know what Spantran is. What does Canada consider a relative for the PNP? So a relative is, of course, a spouse, a parent, a nephew, a niece, an uncle, an aunt. All of those are your relatives. So if you have any of those, they are permanent residents, they are 18 years and above, that means you have a relative in Canada. You, not your spouse. It has to be you. Whoever is the principal applicant has to be the person that has those relatives, okay? Not your spouse. As a student in Canada went to the husband, can he join the Express Entry? Yes, your husband can join the Express Entry even though you're a student. If I get PR as an international student, can I stop schooling? You want to stop schooling now? That certificate that you're going to get is going to help you. If you get PR as a student, you can actually stop schooling. Yeah. Which other routes are available for someone already in Canada to get a job? If you're already in Canada, then I'm surprised you're asking this question. There are so many routes there are so many websites where you can find jobs, you can ask people. The thing about getting a job in Canada is increase your network. Talk to many people. Don't be shy to say, I'm looking for a job. When I came to Canada, I was looking for a job. Anybody I see, I am looking for a job. Anybody. And that was how I got a job, because I was talking to people. Who is this now? Who is this person? I was talking to people. Oh goodness, who is doing this thing? Can you people see this? Must we write IELTS? Yes. I don't really understand West. I've explained it. How can I apply for masterclass? Meet whoever invited you to this webinar. Tell them that you want to purchase the masterclass. They will give you a link. Does postgraduate diploma count in Express Entry Score? Yes, it does. Is it not education? It does now. Do you have a tutor that can train someone for IELTS exam? Yes, we provide that in the masterclass. We have IELTS tutors. Of course, you have to pay them, but yes, they can train you. National Open University degrees are acceptable by West. Someone is still asking question, how much does it cost? A welder, are there job experience for a welder? I don't understand. Is it certain to get a visa after invitation? So you get your invitation to apply, it is certain to get your visa, except you make mistakes. So that's why you are getting the Express Entry Masterclass, because you can still make mistakes. You can still not meet the requirements. You can still miss out a document. And those visa officers will not call you, hardly, to say you are missing out this. They will just refuse your application. So that's why you need a professional. We actually also check your application before you submit it. If you want to get that service, you can look through everything to be sure that everything is there and you have not missed out anything, okay? Does EE consider internationally recognized certificate like PMP or ACA, ACCA? No, PMP, ACCA, all those things do not give points, okay? They can help you to get a job way in Canada, but they will not increase your scores. Perry operative nurse, can I apply? Yes. How to upgrade my EOI profile? You are great. So we teach that in the masterclass. Can one evaluate BSc using West? Yes. Do you need reference letter from your employer? Yes. Must the person you have in Canada be a relative, or can a friend work? A friend is not a relative, so it must be a relative. If you want to get updates on other routes, you have to look at other social media, like other communication that we have out. This one is for express entry. Is IELTS difficult? Oh my God, the truth is that IELTS is not about speaking English. It's not about the English that you can speak. It's about the technicalities of the exam. It is not difficult. I'm telling you, if you know what to look out for, if you do enough practice and you know how to pass that exam, it is one of the easiest exams to pass. It is not difficult, I'm telling you, it is not. If I get invited in the EE, can I go alone and later invite my family? Okay, so if you get invited in the express entry pool, you are invited with your entire family. There's a date that you must enter Canada. There's a landing date, which means that you are given a landing date. Let's say it's December 25th. You and your entire family must enter Canada by December 25th. If you want to go back, you can go back, but your feet must touch this country by December 25th, or else your permanent residence will lapse. Okay, so it will expire. So you can land with your entire family and then you can go back. There are a lot of husbands that go back and leave their family here as permanent residents. So but you have to enter. Okay. I have my ETA ready because I visa free. If I get into Canada, can I get a job permit, start working, invite my family, a wife and 2 kids? So if you get an employer specific job that comes with an LMIA, you can actually process your job permit. You need West. I'm still getting this West. Must I share the same surname with my relative in Canada? No, now you don't have to have the same surname with your cousin. Abby, yes, I have cousins. I don't have the same surname, but I can prove that they are my cousins. Proof is the name of the game. So it's not like he's my cousin. I approve it now. Can I apply for federal skill trade without IELTS? You cannot apply for anything without IELTS. You need it. The only thing you can apply without IELTS is the federal skilled worker program, because that one is a job. Okay, so they might say experience in farming, for example, must have high school diploma. So long as you have experience in farming, you can show it and you have high school diploma, you qualify. So you don't need IELTS or WES for the the foreign worker program, the temporary foreign worker program. But for every other thing that has to do with permanent residence, even when you are here as a temporary foreign worker and you want to become a permanent resident, you will still do the IELTS. Your score will not be 666, maybe it will be 4. Maybe they will take 4, but you will still do it, okay? It will not be, the scores will not be high. I lived in 3 cities for the last 10 years. Do I need police clearances? So if you have lived in 3 cities, you need police clearances for all of them. Is it possible to study in Canada with IELTS? Yes, with and without. Your friend cannot stand as your relative. Please try and avoid fraud in your applications. If they catch you, you will be banned for 5 years. And then your friend that is helping you will also be banned. So please try and avoid fraud, okay? How much is IELTS? I think it's 83,000 Naira. So if you're a permanent resident and you came in through PNP, someone is asking, can you live anywhere after entry? So if Ontario, for example, invited you and you became a permanent resident for Ontario, you also made a commitment that I'm going to live in Ontario. So you have to live and work in Ontario. Now, there are circumstances under which you can live. I can't go into that. If you become a citizen, you can go anywhere you like. There are circumstances under which, but please note that if you were nominated by province, you should try and live in that province. That's all I can say at this point. I am a full-time clergy, 41 years old. How can I go about it? Number 1, get the express entry. Number 2, create a profile after you have done your WES and your IELTS. And then you can now start looking at the provinces that have programs for clergies. Okay, that's something I think I'm going to make a note of putting a special information for clergies. There's a lot of clergies. How do I get sponsorship visa? I don't even know what that is. to be sure if temporary resident need IELTS, I just explained that. I have HND in accounting. I've been into business since I graduated. Can I apply for express entry? Yes. If you go and look at the recording, I explained that. I am applying from Nigeria. My husband is in the US. If I take the IELTS, will he also take his own there, though he's not coming with us? Yes, he will take his own. So if he's not accompanying, if your husband is not accompanying you, then his scores will not count for you. Okay? He has to be accompanied. Now, accompany doesn't mean that he will live in Canada, but you have to say that he's accompanied. There's no time for me to go into all that. That's what we teach. So you have to put him as accompany for his scores to count for you. As a medical lab tech, what can I do to relocate with my spouse? I have BSc and ND, and my husband has. But that's all the thing that I've said in the video. So go and watch it. Is there a tutoring class? That is what the master class is a tutoring class. My wife already passed the IELTS general. What is the next step? The next step is for you to do your WES. If you get the master class, it shows you all the steps. So the modules are, this is the first thing to do, this is the next thing to do, this is the next thing. That's how the master class is designed, and it's with video tutorials and guides and templates and all that. So just get the master class to know the steps. I've already answered this question about using a friend as a relative. Do not tell lies. How much Naira do you need in proof of funds? In Naira, it in Canadian dollars, go and convert it now. It's a simple thing to do. I can apply and add my wife, and she apply and add me as well. That's exactly what I said. You can do that. A registered nurse can apply. If she did IELTS academic, she has to go and do IELTS general. That's the one that is used. I'm a pharmacist. How do I get to Canada? You either come to study or use the express entry. I noticed that medical doctor isn't among the NOC. It actually is. Medical doctor is in the NOC. So it depends on how you're searching. They said I have 60 days or else I will need to start the process all over again because I didn't succeed in creating my profile before the 60 days. What should I do? So if the 60 days are over, then you start all over again to create your profile. I was in the pool for 2 years and mine and hobbies IELTS are expired, but our WES is still valid. Would you advise I do study route or still continue with extra entry? Like I said, you can actually do the two. I don't know how old you are or the qualification that you have. But if you were in the pool for 2 years, that means probably your IELTS has expired and you need to do it again. You can actually try the study route while you wait in the pool, okay? I have 50 plus years. Yes, you can apply. My gave me my transcript, but I haven't given my certificate yet. Can I use that? So you're not submitting a transcript or a certificate for express entry. You're submitting a WES report. Do you understand? So it is whatever WES gives you that you will submit. So you can actually go to WES and see if they will accept your transcript without certificate. But I know that WES used to ask for certificate though. Can I start the process when applying for passport or passport renewal? So if your passport is expired, you can't. If your passport is valid, you can start while you also renew your passport. Can possible to get express entry within 5 months? Express entry is within 6 months. I'm an experienced tailor, but I'm self-employed. I don't have recommendation. You need recommendation. I have ND in business administration. I'm 36 years old. So if you're a business person, there are requirements you need to meet. If you don't meet all those requirements, you will not be qualified, okay? Those requirements are in the video. So if you go back and watch the recording, you would see. So people that are asking, how do I apply? It's a normal way now. There's so many how do I apply jobs. I'm going to answer how do I apply questions. I am a nurse with PhD in public health. How do I apply? This is exactly what I talked about for like 45 minutes when I was presenting. How do you apply? You create a profile. You do your IELTS, you do your WES, and you create a profile. That is how you apply. I hope people from legal field will get a job in Canada. Okay, you mean lawyers? Yes, now. The only thing is that if you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, you have to get the Canadian certification to practice. So you cannot come to Canada as a lawyer and start being a lawyer here. No, you have to go, if you're in Ontario, for example, you have to get certified to practice law in Ontario. In Alberta, same thing, okay? You have to get that extra certification to practice. So someone is asking around NOC. I can't say what NOC you would use because the NOC thing is technical. You have to actually go and check. I have a provincial, if I have provincial nomination, will the process still last up to a minimum of 6 months? Yes, it will last 6 months. How to upgrade my EOI profile has already been submitted. I don't know what that means. How do you update it? So if your profile expires, you have to do it all over again. So you are not upgrading it. I don't know what that means. You have to do it again. What if someone's NOC code doesn't tally with what he studied in school? It doesn't matter. So the Canadian Express entry, it does not matter whether you did biology and you are working as a computer analyst, for example. It doesn't have to tally, okay? It's just that you have the work experience. It doesn't matter what you studied. But there are certain provinces, like Saskatchewan, let me just say Saskatchewan, what you studied and what you are working as has to match. But for the Federal Express entry, it doesn't matter. Can a husband and child travel to Canada if the wife gets study visa? So we're not talking about study visa here. The best provinces to reside in Canada. So that is a difficult question to answer. I live in Ontario, and Ontario is where I've lived. The only other place that I've lived in briefly is Nova Scotia. So all the people live in all the provinces. So there must be something in all the provinces that people see. But I know that the provinces that have the highest population is Ontario, Quebec, British Columbia, I think, and Alberta. So those are the places that have the highest, but all the provinces are good. Is payment after invitation to apply? I don't understand that question. So if you pay, of course, your payment is non-refundable. You have paid for processing now, and they have processed. So even if you are refused, your money don't lost with that. They can't give you your money back. How much is the cost of West? I've answered that question. How do I convert the money? So if you go to Google and say convert Naira to CAD, it will show you how to do that. Is it a must to have Ielts? Yes, yes. I would answer the Ielts question. Ielts is compulsory. Those that have subscribed to the study Japa system have to pay a separate 60,000, or is there a consideration? So it's a different program. You don't have to get the Extension Masterclass, but if you want it, you will pay the 60,000. I'm so sorry. When the Express entry came out, there was a coupon, there was a sale for those who had the Japa system. If you didn't get it at that time, for now, it's the same price. I want the PR. Is the IELTS compulsory? IELTS is compulsory, even if you have masters from heaven. IELTS is compulsory. A 17-year-old cannot apply for Express entry. They have to be 18. And they have to have that 1 year of skilled work experience. So I don't know how an 18-year-old, but they have to be 18. Can I include my late brother's son, who are my dependents? So you have to have adopted them for you to include them. You have to show papers that you have adopted them, okay? Just because they live with you or they are your dependents, they are not your dependents for Express entry purpose. What if I created my Express entry profile before registering for PNP and then I got nominated? How would Express entry know that I've been nominated? They would know. So the systems are linked. Your PNP, when you get a PNP nomination, you would submit your Express entry number there. So it's linked. So there's no, don't worry about it. It's a computer program. Would it count against me if I apply for Express entry while awaiting admission to study? No, it will not count again. It's not supposed to. If I pay 60,000 Naira is to complete the process of Express entry and I get visa. I don't understand what that means, but it's a master class that is a guide. You probably didn't understand. So we're not processing anything. We're showing you what to do, showing you the documents that you can submit. Does my husband's niece have to change her surname? It doesn't matter whether she changes her surname. She has to be your child. or your stepchild or your adopted child. And it's not by writing letter, it's by showing verifiable, valid, genuine documents that you have adopted this person and they are now your child, okay? For PNP, Ontario OINP, is it a must to have an express entry profile? It depends on the particular OINP stream. My wife has third class. My question is with third class and my wife has school certificate. What are our chances? I'm not going to answer that question because that is what I've been answering since. Can I apply for express entry as a PhD holder to read French in Quebec? Nigeria universities are on strike. Do I stand a chance without transcripts? If you're talking about express entry, then you do, if you don't have your transcript for PhD, your highest education that you have transcript is what you're going to use. Can someone with teaching experience apply up? Can someone with teaching experience in secondary and post-secondary school apply with up to? Yes, you can. Can I use PTE to apply? No, PTE is not used in Canada. It's only used in Australia as far as I know. So Canada uses Ielts and CELPIP. So besides West, of course, you can use other bodies. I said so, like the IQAS. There's many others. I think there's even one, University of Toronto. You don't have to use West. Okay. Myself and my husband want to travel to Canada. What is the first step? The first step is to apply for visa. What is the disadvantage of express entry? I don't know what you mean, but what can be a disadvantage? It is giving you permanent residence. I don't see disadvantage. The only thing is that express entry might favor you if you have certain combination of education, age, and adaptability factors. So there's a way the system is structured, yeah. So they have this probably codes or whatever in it that might favor you if you have certain combination of age, education, and language tests. Probably that's the disadvantage for some people. Do you need Ielts for the foreign worker program? No, you don't. I think that is all. Do we still have time? What's the time? Okay, I can take a last set. I'm tired of talking. But I can take a last set of questions, very few. I will lock this one on time, but there's no need to ask questions that I've already answered because I will not answer them. So, well, basically you need to get your West, your ECA. It doesn't have to be West. It can be ICAS. It can be any of those ones. You have to get your English test. If you know how to speak French, or if you can learn French, if you are good in languages, you can learn French and add a second language, which means you have Ielts and you have the TEF. The TEF is for French. If you have the two, your scores will increase. If you have a relation in Canada who is 18 years and above and is a permanent resident, they are not a student, they are not a temporary resident, it also adds points. If you get a provincial nomination, that is an automatic 600 points. You are on your way to Canada. If you have a provincial nominee, if you are a refugee in Canada, then you have to do refugee own. You understand? You cannot come and be applying for permanent residence. Okay, I'm just talking as I'm seeing some questions. How do you pay for West? Go to the internet. You pay directly to West. Okay, so they have a payment portal on their website where you can pay. Your friend in Canada, I don't know when you say, can a friend be a sponsor? I'm just answering some of the questions as I'm seeing it. I will soon close it out. This is the last set of questions. I know it's probably pretty late in Nigeria. I think it's like 9 o'clock or so. Yeah, 9. So, and I'm tired. So I'm going to close it and answer this last set of questions. And then if you have more questions, you can reach out to the affiliate or any of our agents or partners that have invited you and ask questions. I think a lot of them have certain groups where they put people together. You can ask your questions there. You can get the masterclass. You get all of my contact details in the masterclass. I want everybody to have the opportunity to come to Canada, especially now when they are taking people. Nobody knows how long this immigration thing will last. Nobody knows really. Canada is one of the best countries in the world. It is one of the best, very family friendly. So if you have the opportunity, try and come here, okay? And I'm going to answer the questions. This is the last set of questions. We're going to have another webinar. I'm going to send out the recording. We'll probably put it on YouTube. Also send it to all the affiliates and agents. They will share it with you. It's a public document, so it's not like we're hiding it, okay? Okay, so I'm going to end this. Take the questions. Where did I start? Should I look at the time? Start. I think we got up to there. Let's start this one. Let's see. I start from the bottom. Okay, assuming I have the proof of funds, but it's not gotten through my formal job. Other business, do they verify my source? Now, whatever your source of funds is, when it comes to the express entry, but you have to also say where your source of funds is. But I don't know why. I mean, if you're getting it from other businesses, you should be able to prove now where you got the money from. So the recording will be available after writing my Ielts. I get a professional to do the whole process for me. How much? So that information is inside the masterclass. Which express entry route is the cheapest? EE or schooling? All of them cost money. I have not done the comparison, so I cannot say which is the cheapest. Just do whichever one you qualify for. Okay. I can get a reference letter from my workplace, though I'm a contract staff working in a bank. Okay, so your job has to be full-time. Contract staff does not qualify. It has to be a full-time job, not a, so if your job is for 2 years or it's renewable, it doesn't qualify. It has to be full-time. If I'm a PR, can I travel back and forth? Can I travel back and leave my family? Absolutely. You can leave your family here and you can be coming and going. Absolutely. When are you going to do webinar on how to apply and secure employment in Canada from Nigeria? There is a bonus in this one that shows you how to do that. So get the Express Entry Masterclass. I am not going to do a webinar specifically for that. When I apply with NAPTEP certificates, you can apply with any certificate as long as WES has given you the equivalent of that certificate. Like I said before, we are not submitting any certificates. We are submitting WES. So if you do WES and WES says your NAPTEP is equivalent to a high school, then you can use it. Nigerian in Germany as refugees, can they apply? Why not now? You can apply if you're a refugee in Germany. I guess you can. God bless you and your family. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. How do I apply for a job before coming? So you need to get the masterclass for that. Outline it. There are certain companies that take people for temporary foreign worker. You can also go on the internet and look for jobs. So long as your employer is ready to wait for you to do work permit and come before you start your job, then you can apply to any job. Can I apply for Express Entry when my international passport is about 6 months expiration? Yes, you can. And you can also renew your passport. God bless you. God bless you too. Thank you. Someone with a professional aviation certificate. What is the chance of securing a job in Canada? I don't know. Do you understand? If there's a job that takes that, then of course there's a chance. Is school transit compulsory? I don't understand that question. How do I prove my mom's cousin is a relative? Get the masterclass, which will give you some ways that you can prove that. I need to get a certificate study in a college. I don't understand. Can other provinces accept lower than 7? Okay, so now a province can say their own provincial nomination is less than 7. It is possible. But if you're in the Express Entry pool and you need that province to give you the 600 marks, you still need to get that 7, despite what the province is saying. Okay, so you need that 7 point. IELTS is doable. I was in the pool for 2 years. I'll answer this question. Can I have direct link or contact to you? My direct links and contacts are inside the masterclass. As soon as you are able to purchase it, you can get a direct link or contact to me. How do we prove they are our children? Who now? You prove your children by their birth certificate. So if you have 6.5 in Ielts, yes, you can apply for PNP if, depending on what their scores are, but you cannot apply for express entry. Please, the videos will be circulated. Can a friend be your sponsor? Well, I don't know what you mean by sponsor, but a friend, you cannot claim that your friend is a relative. When you say sponsor, is it that your friend can give you money? Yes, your friend can give you money, but why is a friend giving you money? Is it believable? Can a Nigerian teacher get a teaching job in Canada? So once you come to Canada and you want to teach, you also have to get certified to teach. So teaching is one of those other jobs that you have to get certification to do in Canada. Can I do PR process myself without the help of any agent? Of course, so many people do PR process by themselves. People make mistakes, of course. People learn from their mistakes, but the masterclass shows you how you can do it by yourself. I understand that agents charge as much as $2,000 or more to do this for you, and it's something you can do by yourself. As a lecturer, who will give me a reference letter? Your employer. So if you're a lecturer in the University of Ado-Ekiti, the University of Ado-Ekiti will give you a reference letter. It doesn't matter whether it's a HOD or the school, probably HR or the Senate. Do they investigate where your funds come from? Yes, you have to explain where your funds have come from. So how about coming to work, like factory contraction? So I explained the temporary foreign worker program. You can use that to come and work in a factory. Can you be my cousin? Hey, Jehovah. I'm not your cousin. Now you have to prove that I'm your cousin. So wherever you're saying is your cousin, you have to be able to prove. I mean, there's been so many fraud in terms of who is my relation or who is not my relation. And that's why Manitoba actually stopped their PNP briefly, because there was so much fraud. Nigerians were paying everybody to act as their cousin. So that's why that was stopped, which is sad. And then they have actually revoked some permanent residents because of this fraud. It's very dangerous. I'm a driver with BSc part-time. What will I do? You will study. Come and study, because you have to have a full-time job. 50 years, I'm a teacher. Okay, well done. That's not a question. I have my spouse and children have Canadian passports. What option do I have to get citizenship? I'm not sure how your spouse and your children have Canadian passports and you don't. So if they have Canadian passports, your spouse can actually sponsor you. You do not need West evaluation if you're coming to study, except your school specifically asks for it. I am NCE, I work in a bank, I'm 34. Am I qualified? Yes. My spouse has a degree and I want to be the applicant. What's your take? Any of you can be the main applicant. I'm confused. Is it visa first? Because of the question you asked now, that's why I said you should apply for visa. So I can't answer incomplete questions. You have to ask everything. Can a couple use the same masterclass package? You know, when it comes to express entry, it's one person that is applying. Now, if you're a couple and both of you want to apply, like the husband wants to apply, the wife wants to apply, a couple can use it. But a couple, no, because if you actually share your password, we're going to revoke you, and we do not listen to begging. There are people who have been revoked, and ask them. If you share and we find out, you cannot log in if we deny you access. That's how the system is. You cannot download it. So if you share it, we will revoke it. And if husband is not really accompanying, should I still put it there that he is accompanying? So your husband is either accompanying or not accompanying. Do you understand? If your husband is not accompanying, I say he's not accompanying. The only thing is that if your husband is not accompanying you, you have to now sponsor him later. It's technical, and I teach that in the express entry class. There must be a reason why your husband is accompanying or not accompanying. Do you understand? How do I go about studying in Canada? This is not for that. How long do you think express entry will last? I don't know. Nobody knows. Provincial nominee, go and watch the video. Can a registered not participate? Yes. You didn't talk about school routes. That's because this webinar is not about school. It is about express entry. It's even there in the name. It was there in the program, express entry. So it's not study. How much is West? I've answered it. The postgraduate diploma give one the same score as master's degree. No, see, whatever West says. So if you're going to do your West with your postgraduate diploma, and West says is equivalent to a master's, then you're getting the points of a master's. If West says is not equivalent to a master's, they're equivalent to a 2-year graduate degree, they are not getting. So it's West that determines that. So a master degree is master degree anyway. And master degree would give higher points than a postgraduate, but then it depends on what your West evaluation says. It's not in Canada, but in Germany. Okay. Can you do a West for you, for your PGD? I don't understand what that. You can do a West for, yes, you do West for your highest qualification. But if you have HND and you have PGD, you should do West for the two of them because you get more points than if you use only PGD. I said that in the presentation. I can't go into that. So you do, if you have masters, just do for your masters. If you have PGD, do for your 2 degrees. I've answered this. Does my housing in Canada, I don't understand this. Okay, can my children over 18 years be my dependents? So when it comes to express entry, if your children are 18 years, yes, they can be your dependents. I think children up to 22 years can be your dependents. Children older than 22 years can even be your dependents, but then there are other requirements that they have to meet. I can't talk about it. We teach that in the master class. 22 years old, if they are not married, if they are married, they are not your dependent, too. They are now on their own. I am a CNA. What is my chance? Your chance of what? So I don't understand that question. Ask questions normally, okay? So that someone can, I don't know what you mean. Does federal skill trade need to get job offer and LMIA? Yes, they do. Can someone apply for study and also process express entry at the same time? Yes. Your friend cannot be your, well, your friend can be your sponsor, of course. That's if they are giving you money, they can. I want to continue with my master in civil. We're talking about express entry. I have a BSc computer science. I've been practicing project management for over 10 years. Can I get a nomination from Saskatchewan? You have to go to Saskatchewan and see if you meet their requirements. For study routes, you do not need the Ielts. I don't have a university degree, but I have a registered company that I manage. I pay my taxes. What is your education? That education is so important. If you have a high school diploma, you can apply for express entry. A lot of people here may not be able to trace back how they got the webinar, so I think you should share a link. I'm surprised that you will not know how you were able to click a link to get the webinar. You must have seen it somewhere. Was it on social media? Was it someone's? How could you not have known how you got the link? Now I'm surprised to hear that. Well, I cannot share a link here because there are people who were invited by different people, and I'm the one that put the rule, so I cannot break it by sharing a link. I'm so sorry. You have to go back to where you found the link and contact the person. Caregiver jobs. How do you apply for caregiver job? The normal way people apply for jobs. You look for job. If you can get the temporary foreign worker program, which is in the express entry, you know the agencies that are recruiting for those jobs. My family applied for a Canada visa in 2018 as a tourist visa. Can we apply now? Can you apply for what? Tourist visa? I guess the answer is yes. Is there a military job? No. Do I need CV for express entry? You need CV for everything, yes. What are the chances for a welder? So a welder is a skilled trade. So if you look at the federal skilled trades program, you have a chance there. How do I get the JAPA system? We are talking about express entry. Can a refugee apply for this visa? A refugee where? If you're a refugee in Canada, then that's a different program, a different thing. If you're a refugee outside Canada, I guess you can apply. I'm just using the route to go to Canada in order to relocate with my husband in the US. You need Ielts, yes. I don't understand this question. I'm 35 years old with MSc. I don't have any relative in Canada. You stand a chance, definitely. Having a relative in Canada is not compulsory. For fund is applicable to express entry. So some of these questions are questions we already answered when we were doing the webinar. So you need to get the recording. Somebody's asking, if you're asking me about cost, I'm not going to answer because you need to, like, family of 5, you can't calculate it now. I already gave the cost. Look for your family of 5, how much you need for proof of funds, how much it will cost you to apply. It's all there in the recording. How can you prove that someone is your cousin? Yeah. Your birth certificate, I guess. Is the master class a one-off, or would it hold till the process is done? So it's, I don't know what I mean by one-off, but it's a class, it's a continuous class that has like 18 modules and so tells you step by step what to do. Is NYC regarded as work experience? Yes. NYC is a full-time work experience. So long as you meet the number of hours, okay, 35 hours per week or so, yeah. How much is express entry? I don't know, the master class or the express entry itself. ICANN is not accepted for express entry. And when you say is ICANN accepted in Canada, I think Canada has their own ICANN, which is ACCA also. So it's a different thing. Can I go as an unskilled worker and still school? So if you come into Canada as an unskilled worker, you will not be able to go to school because you need a study permit to go to school. So if you come as a worker, you have a work permit, you need a study permit. I will send the video. If you have a cousin that has permanent residence, yes, you can include them as your relative to get more points. How do I apply? I've answered all these questions. Okay, so I've answered everything, and it's at 12 minutes past 4 here, and I guess it's past 9 in Nigeria, in Ghana, and all that. So I want to say thank you to everyone who has joined. I'm tired, but I'm glad I was able to talk about the express entry, and I feel that I've been able to explain it better. If you just want to get a job, temporary job, come to Canada, try and work towards your permanent residence. You can get this masterclass and then concentrate on the bonus, which is the temporary foreign worker program, as well as the skilled worker, the provincial nominee program, okay? Those are 2 other routes. You can also consider the study route. You can be doing that while you're also in the pool. So I don't need to overflog the issue of what are the benefits of coming to Canada. The benefits are there, they're clear, they're overwhelming. And then, of course, the major thing as far as I'm concerned is that as an adult, I could have stayed in my country, but then, of course, for my children and grandchildren and generations to come, I want them to be Canadian citizens, okay? So, so this is an opportunity for your family to make Canada their new home. I'm going to stop now. I'm going to do the recording, put it out on YouTube, send it to your affiliates, send it to whoever invited you. Please, whoever, even if it's a friend, ask them where they got the link. I know that some people got the link from me and say they want to send to their friends. Ask them, you know, whoever sent the link, they would know how to connect with either me or whoever it is that has invited. Send them that link to invite you, okay? So I would be surprised if you didn't know where you got the link from. So that will be all for today. I will try and hold another masterclass next month, and then we can talk about express entry again, talk about other things that have to do with studying in Canada but you need to plug into one of this. If you're in Canada as a student or as a temporary worker, there are so many routes for you to become permanent residents. There are so many. The provinces have so many. There are more than 80 routes to become permanent residents if you're in Canada. Okay, so I know I unmuted everybody, so I'm going to, you can unmute yourself so that we can hear each other's voice and just say goodbye. So it was very, very nice.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Very much.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Really
Very
appreciate.
In
Canada.
really
God
grateful.
bless you.
Really grateful. Thank you. God bless
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you, everybody.
Shay.
Thank you. I'm grateful as well.
Oh, I want to say something.
Please,
That is
God bless you. We're in Nigeria, we need to concentrate on other aspects.
thank you, everybody.
We're
Thank you
very
as
much.
well. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Really enjoying it.
Thank you so much as
See you
well.
very soon.
See you in Canada. Please come and visit me in
Thank you
Ontario.
very much. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you
very much.
So much as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very,
So
very
have a
much.
lovely
Thank
week.
you.
Have a lovely bye, everybody.
Thank you very much. I will do of your program.
Okay, thank you. I'm very grateful. I'm even more grateful than you, sir, for giving me the opportunity.
That's what I'm saying. It's miracle from zero.
Okay, guys, have a lovely week.